බිස්කට් වේදිකාවට දැන් පැමිණි සීග්‍රගාමී රසේ මංචි පොටේටෝ ක්‍රැකර්. බිස්කට් වේදිකාවට දැන් පැමිණි සීග්‍රගාමී රසේ මංචි පොටේටෝ ක්‍රැකර්.
On satellite, on Freeview, on cable, on radio, on mobile, on the web and around the world. This is First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7.
Making headlines first at 9, no confidence. Parliament takes time till next Thursday to decide the date to debate the no confidence motion on Minister Ravi Karunanayake. Police Ordinance. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe questions the meaning of following a century-and-a-half long ordinance. Pandemonium in North Central. The Provincial Council members set fire to the agenda papers inside the chambers. End of a pageant. The Kandy Asala Perahara concludes with the participation of President Sirisena. And in international headlines, expensive election, Kenya goes to polls to elect a president and a parliament. We are live across Sri Lanka this hour on First and 9. Good evening everyone, I'm Mahesh Johnny. Let's take you straight to the Parliament as we report on the developments on the no confidence motion. A heated argument broke out in Parliament today over the pending debate on the no confidence motion against Minister Ravi Karunanayake. During a tense exchange with Speaker Karu Jayasuriya, UPFA parliamentarian Vimal Veeravansa alleged that the government was attempting to evade the no confidence motion.
A no-confidence motion was handed over against Foreign Minister Ravi Karunanayake. The motion must be debated soon. What is your decision on that? Honourable Speaker, what are we to do with the Foreign Minister? Do they want us to engage in a fast outside the UNP office? Each party can do whatever it likes after you make your decision. They're raising their voices even before you decide.
මේ විශ්වාස භංගයට ප්‍රස්තුත කාරණය කොමිසම පත් කරලා තියෙන බැදුම් කර වංචාව සම්බන්ධයෙන් නෙවෙයි. ඒයින් ස්වාධීන වූ බැහැරු වෙනත් වංචාව සම්බන්ධයෙන්. මේ දෙක එකට ගැට ගැසීමේ කිසිම අවශ්‍යතාවයක් නැහැ. ගරු කතානායක මෙතන ප්‍රශ්නයක් තිබෙනවා.
Honourable Speaker, there is an issue here. You are consulting the Attorney General on a matter not even mentioned in the parliamentary agenda. When you are handed a no-confidence motion, it should first be included in the agenda. When that is done, the questions whether it should be debated and whether it is being discussed in court is a separate matter.
ඒක වෙනම සාකච්ඡාවක්. අද උරන්න අපි ළමන පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ඇතුළත් වෙනවා. ඇයි ඒ තරම් කල් යන්නේ? හෙට න්‍යාය පත්‍රයට දාන්න පුළුවන්. නෑ න්‍යාය පත්‍රයට දාන්න නීති උපදේශ ඕනේ නෑ නේ.
Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa says the United National Party is more interested on the no-confidence motion against Minister Ravi Karunanayake than the joint opposition. He made these comments following an event held in Colombo today.
Journalists raised questions on the no-confidence motion against Minister Ravi Karunanayake.
The UNP and other parties in the government are further ahead on this than the joint opposition. Who says so? Don't declare fabrications. The joint opposition is very much enthusiastic about this. The truth will become apparent in the near future. They defrauded their way into power and didn't stop. We were accused of drug dealing, but nobody knows what happened to the drugs brought to Satasa.
Well, the topic of no confidence motion against Minister Ravi Karunanika continues to ramble on, with various politicians expressing views on the much debated topic.
පාර්ලිමේන්තු සම්ප්‍රදාය තමයි විශ්වාසභංග යෝජනාවක් ඉදිරිපත් වුණොත්
According to the parliamentary tradition, if a no-confidence motion is filed, it should be brought to light and should be given priority. But don't forget that they did not take up the no-confidence motion against Ravi Karunanika during the 100-day government until the parliament was adjourned. If that motion was taken up, such frauds would not have happened. If we win the no-confidence motion, Ravi Karunanika, who is the accused in the scam, will have to resign. If it loses, everyone will know as to who protect the thieves.
හොරු රකින්න කම්බහොරුන් කවුද කියලා මුළු රටටම බලා ගන්න පුළුවන්.
මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ ප්‍රබල ඇමතිවරු 3 දෙනෙක්ම ඒ බැඳුම්කර වංචාව යට ගහන්න උත්සාහ කරා.
3 frontline ministers of the government attempted to suppress the bond scam, which incurred a loss of 55 billion rupees to the people of the country. EPF money of the working people was lost due to the scam. A special trial at bar bench can be appointed to deliberate cases of corruption. Although the investigations are launched into corruption, the implementation of law gets delayed. Therefore, Ravi Karunanika should resign from the position, ask for forgiveness from the Ministry of Finance and the people of the country for his part in such a transaction.
මේ රටේ ජනතාවගෙන් රවි කරුණානායක ඇමතිතුමා සමාව ගත යුතුයි.
හැබැයි අපි හිතනවා ආණ්ඩුවටත් හොඳයි.
We think that it's good for the government, the country and the two parties. Those who are accused should make a decision before the no-confidence motion is taken up. If not, the President will take a decision.
Arjun Aloysius first gave money by helping Mahinda Rajapaksa during his campaign for the 2015 presidential election. Anyone can help whoever they like. But as a party, neither do we depend on anyone and nor do we have the necessity.
Meanwhile, Janata Vimukti Perpuna alleges that not only the present government but those who defected and are currently holding ministerial portfolios are also implicated in corruption. When Minister Rajitha Senaratne was the Minister of Fisheries, the Modra port was leased for 225,000 rupees per month over 25 years to a British company. Its internal valuator placed the real value at 1.7 million rupees. Millions of rupees in losses was incurred over 25 years. Laws should be implemented for those who are involved in large-scale scams in the past as well as the present. Minister of Telecommunication and Digital Infrastructure Harin Fernando affirms that the diligence adopted by the Commission of Inquiry pertaining to Minister Ravi Karunanika should extend to others with accusations levelled against them. Minister Fernando made these remarks today addressing media at the Department of Government Information. Under the good governance regime, we did not punish the wrongdoers, and we have to pay the price for it today. We suffered enough to form this government, and even after forming the government, we have to suffer. I feel a conspiracy is at work against politicians like us. Though we are in the government, I feel as if I am out of it. Several ministers have been targeted with this foul play. Minister Kabir Hashim, Malik Samaravikrama, Mangala Samravira and several others will also be individually targeted. This is a new game. I would like to make a request today to expedite investigations on several other cases which are dragging while some have halted. I will launch a struggle from today demanding commissions and departments to function like the Presidential Commission did on the former Finance Minister. Let's change the subject now. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the government has taken measures to introduce new reforms to the police since the current ordinance is outdated. Speaking at the Inter-Regional Decision Makers Workers Group meeting held in Colombo today, the Premier added that all facts of the law and order should also be modernized.
The opening ceremony of the Inter-Regional Decision Makers Workers Group meeting, which marks the launch of the Interpol Inter-Regional Project of Countering Terrorism and related transnational crimes in South and Southeast Asia, was held in Colombo today. It saw the participation of 50 high-ranking law enforcement entities from the Asian region, including Bangladesh, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Nepal and Philippines. The three-day workshop is organized by Interpol together with the Sri Lanka Police.
The Minister and the police are now taking the initiative to bring new reforms to the police and a new law. Because we still run on the police ordinance, which was passed 151 years ago. We have built a rank structure which is not reflected in the police ordinance. And then we have the 13th Amendment which had devolved powers to the police. With the war and subsequently, the military education has increased significantly in Sri Lanka. And I don't think the police are kept up to it. And you could see the increase in the capacity, the amount of research that is being done. Unfortunately, this has not happened in the police. And the proposal now is to establish a university for police and criminal justice. And this will then be the apex for education of police and capacity building for Sri Lanka.
The world faces an increasingly complex threat landscape where no one country or region is immune from terrorism or transnational crime threats. For this reason, Interpol seeks the widest possible international police cooperation. As we know, that good cooperation between law enforcement will help develop and maintain security and stability in an ever-developing and borderless world.
Also in local news, hundreds of thousands of people thronged the city of Kandy last night to witness one of Sri Lanka's greatest cultural spectacles. Following several nights of ceremonial pageantry, the Kandy Asala festival came to a close today.
The annual Asala Randoli procession of the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic took to the streets for a final climactic display last night at the auspicious time of 7:53 p.m. Decked in sumptuous trappings and sparkling lights, the ceremonial tusker Indiraja bore the casket carrying the sacred tooth relic. Boasting around 80 elephants along with over 1,000 upcountry dancers, musicians and singers, the procession paraded through Kandy with vibrant traditional performances. The water cutting ceremony was held this morning at the Gatame Ford in Kandy, bringing the night's procession to a conclusion. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa was also present at the ceremony. Following the daytime procession, which traditionally marks the end of the Asal procession, the Warna Nilame, Pradeep Nilanga Dala Bandara, along with the trustees of the four main Devalas as well as others, proceeded to the President's house in Kandy. They ceremonially handed over the traditional message proclaiming the successful conclusion of the procession to the President. President Sirisena subsequently handed over certificates and financial awards to 115 artists who had contributed to the Asala festival. Meanwhile, the annual Asala festival of the Ruhunu Mahakataragama Devalaya also came to a close today. Following last night's final procession, the water cutting ceremony was held this morning at the Jeevamali Ford by the Manik River. The Derana Media Network was the media partner for the Asala festival of Kataragama this year.
Meanwhile, President Maithripala Sirisena engaged in religious observances at the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic in Kandy today.
President Maithripala Sirisena also joined the thousands of devotees to watch the historic Asala procession this morning. He later engaged in religious observances at the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic. During his visit to Kandy, the President also met with Chief Prelate of the Malwatha chapter, Most Venerable Tibbatuwave Sri Sumangala Thera. He then met with Chief Prelate of the Askiri chapter, Most Venerable Warakagoda Sri Jnanaratana Thera. President Sirisena also engaged in cordial discussions with the public who gathered to watch the Asala procession.
A tense situation arose at the North Central Provincial Council today when councillors supporting the joint opposition protested against the appointment of UNP Provincial Councillor DM Amarathunga as chairman of the council. They also set fire to the copies of the agenda paper of their sessions. North Central Provincial Council met this morning under the chairmanship of DM Amarathunga. While the session was underway, councillors supporting the joint opposition arrived inside the chamber wearing black armbands. One councillor, KH Nandasena, raising a point of order, said that the appointment of the chairman is not legal and therefore the session cannot be continued. This motion, however, was met with opposition, leading to the agenda of the day being set on fire. Subsequently, the councillors also engaged in a sit-in protest outside the provincial council. Former Northern Provincial Health Minister Padmanathan Sathilingam attributes his decision to resign from his ministerial position to the actions of Chief Minister of the Northern Province, C.V. Vigneshwaran. Convening a media briefing yesterday, the former provincial minister said that he resigned in protest of the Chief Minister's action and that none of the MPs representing the TNA will accept any ministerial portfolios in the Northern Provincial Council.
We
do not like to continue this issue. Our MPs in the Ilangai Tamil Arasu Katchi decided not to hold any ministerial portfolios in the Northern Provincial Council. I too supported the decision, so there is no necessity for me to be in that position any longer. Nobody forced me, and it was my decision to step down from the post of Health Minister.
Also in local news, the Chief Executive Officer of Perpetual Treasuries Private Limited, Kasun Palisena, appeared before the Presidential Commission of Inquiry today. Testifying before the Commission, he stated that prior to the controversial bond transaction on the 27th of February 2015, the central bank took measures to artificially suppress the yield rate that should have been ideally increased according to the existing trend.
The CEO of Perpetual Treasuries Private Limited, Kasun Palisena, appeared before the Commission of Inquiry today and was questioned by his legal representative, Counsel Nihal Fernando. Counsel Nihal Fernando brought the attention of the Commission to a document which describes the behaviour of the yield curve prior to the controversial bond issuance. Palisena said that according to the document, the yield rate of the country should have increased since October 2014, saw an increasing trend in the rate. He further stated that the central bank took measures to artificially suppress the yield rates. The CEO of Perpetual Treasuries Private Limited, Kasun Palisena, went on to say that this situation resulted in foreign investors leaving the country.
All tuition classes, seminars, workshops and printing model papers for students sitting for the 2017 Grade 5 Scholarship Examination will be prohibited from midnight on the 16th of August to the 20th of August. The Department of Examinations warned that people found flouting the law will be brought to book. With that, let's now take a look at some other stories making news across Sri Lanka.
UNP parliamentarians Chamindu Wijayasiri and Heshu Vitanage today arrived at the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption. They filed a complaint against Chief Minister of Uva Province Chamara Sampath Dasanayake alleging corruption and fraud. The Sri Lankan Navy arrested 49 Indian fishermen and impounded 12 fishing trawlers for trespassing into northern Sri Lankan territorial waters and engaging in illegal fishing last night and this morning. The interception was made by fast attack craft attached to the Northern Naval Command and Sri Lanka Coast Guard whilst on routine patrol. Retired and disabled soldiers of the Tri-Forces held a demonstration in front of the Colombo Fort Railway Station demanding payment of pension and essential allowances. They also engaged in a protest march from the Colombo Fort Railway Station to the Presidential Secretariat. A baby was born to a pair of endangered orangutans at the Dehiwala Zoological Gardens. The parents were brought to the country from Indonesia in 2003.
Into business news now. State Minister of Public Enterprise Lakshman Yaba Abewardena acknowledges that the government has received several foreign proposals to enter into a public-private partnership with state-run Sri Lankan Airlines. Speaking to media in Colombo today, the State Minister said that there are several factors that needs to be considered when entering into a partnership, which includes cutting unnecessary costs.
Sri Lankan seats na.
There are no seats in Sri Lankan Airlines as over 10,000 seats have been sold out for the month of October for Melbourne flights alone. We have a demand. However, when overhead costs are taken into consideration, if we do not enter into public-private partnerships, the Treasury will not be able to bear the cost. When we enter into a partnership, we must also consider as to how we can make the transition without letting go of staff, as there will be internal conflicts. We can develop our airline in several ways. We can sell our technology to other airlines as we have advanced technology. We can also earn additional income through our catering services.
Let's take you to the stock market now. Colombo equities drifted further to the negative territory today, but on thin volumes. The ASI closed 43.30 index points lower at 6,524.13, while S&P SL20 index declined 30.43 index points to close at 3,754.08. Now let's get a full report on the day's trading, and for that let's cross over to Imeshi Fernando from the Colombo Stock Exchange.
Top 5 gainers of the day were Lanka Tiles, Central Investments and Finance, Lake House Printers, Pegasus Hotels and Citizen Development Business Finance non-voting. While the top 5 losers were PC House, Amana Takaful, Agalawatha Plantation, Lanka Ashok Leyland and Adam Capital.
On to sports now. Sri Lanka Cricket has appointed former right-arm fast bowler Ramesh Ratnayake as the head coach of fast bowling in the national team. Ratnayake is one of the fastest Sri Lankan bowlers in the 1980s and played 23 Test and 71 internationals for Sri Lanka, claiming 149 wickets in total in his international career.
Ratnayake also worked as a supplementary fast bowling coach with the national team during the 2015 World Cup alongside Chaminda Vas. He was also the interim head coach during Australia's tour to Sri Lanka in 2011. Ratnayake is well known for his 9-wicket haul against India, which resulted in Sri Lanka's inaugural Test series victory against India. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Cricket today confirmed that veteran spinner Rangana Herath will be ruled out of the third test against India, which will be held in Pallekele. The decision comes as a result of the spinner being hit by a back injury after pulling off the second test. Herath joins Asela Gunaratne, Suranga Lakmal and Nuwan Pradeep in Sri Lanka's growing injury list ahead of the third and final test.
Let's move on to international news. Kenyans cast their votes today to elect a president and a new parliament following weeks of campaigning and claims of a plot to rig the vote amid fears that the result could trigger communal violence. Among 8 candidates running in a tight race for presidency, the front-runners are incumbent President Uhuru Kenyatta and his longtime rival opposition leader Raila Odinga.
President Uhuru Kenyatta, the 55-year-old son of Kenya's founding president, is seeking a second and final term in office. 72-year-old opposition candidate and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has run for president thrice before and lost each time. To win presidency outright, a candidate needs 50% plus 1 vote and at least 25% of votes in 24 of Kenya's 47 counties. If that threshold is not met, it will trigger a runoff vote between the top 2 candidates, with the winner requiring a simple majority.
Welcome back, everyone. Time now to take a look at what the weather holds for the next 24 hours. For that, let's cross over to Katharina Chang, who's at the Weather Centre.
A very good evening and welcome to the Weather Centre. Now, starting off with your temperatures tonight, we can expect temperatures to vary between 21 and 34 degrees Celsius over the course of next 24 hours. Now, the wet weather is expected to continue over most parts of the island. Now, taking a look at the northern region, we can expect some fairly heavy rainfall of over 50 millimetres in the eastern, over, northern and north central provinces, while cloudy skies can be expected in Colombo, Galle and Kandy. Let's now take a quick look at the city-by-city forecast.
And that is a part of your world tonight right here on Other Derana 24/7. I'm Mahesh Johnny. We will return tomorrow first at night. Be sure to join us then. And before we wrap things up for tonight, here's a sky view over our beautiful island, Sri Lanka. Enjoy and good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.